What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. I'm not really sure how this is going to go, so bear with me, please. It's been about 3.5 weeks since my dad passed away, and I'm sure that it's been very clear that him and the situation has been more than just on my mind. And I appreciate all the well wishings, and I always told everybody that I would keep it real 100% with this YouTube thing. And I couldn't say much before about what was going on because there is a lawsuit. And now that my mom has gone on Channel 12 News to tell the story, I can put the story out there of what has really been going on with my family and myself in the last 3 weeks. So we're going to start back when 2012, my dad gets stage 3 lung cancer. Had the chemotherapy and radiation, beat it, was cancer-free. The VA, this is where he was treated at, the VA. Veterans. He was a veteran. Last year, a spot came back in his lung. They said, targeted radiation, because you've had the maximum radiation and chemotherapy. Targeted radiation, something a little bit different, we're going to use that. So he did that. He's cancer-free again. Cancer-free. No cancer. He's had PET scan after CAT scan after PET scan after everything. Cancer-free. Hallelujah, you're cured. In May, I went to see my mom who had breast cancer. My dad was fine. Good spirits, feeling good. After I came home about a week or two, he couldn't talk anymore. He lost his voice, which they thought was laryngitis, was a cold. He'd had this kind of strange cough starting, but there was no real reason for it. Like they were, the VA kept telling my mom, he's just got a cold or whatever, fucking whatever. He loses his voice. They diagnosed it as a paralyzed vocal cord. Okay, now what? He can't talk. We're going to do cortisone shots in his neck. It'll cure that. Or maybe he has to have a surgery, but it'll cure that. This is in May. June, July, August, he's going through all these scans, he's going through all these tests to try to figure out. He's got pain in his shoulder blade, pain in his neck, pain in his front. They're saying it's a pinched nerve in the neck that causes all these things. His heart rate is 150 beats per minute at rest. He's hospitalized twice for that. VA still can't find anything wrong with him. Their explanation is he's in AFib because he's getting older. He's then told that he has fibrosis in his throat from the radiation. It's a side effect of the radiation. That's why he can't talk now. There's fibrosis. Okay. That leads us up to 3 weeks ago. He goes for a CAT scan. They scan him. Before they even get home, they call my mom and say, bring him back right away. He needs to be admitted. She gets back there with my dad. The doctor walks in with hospice. My mom recognizes the hospice worker because she worked with my grandfather. My mom's like, why is hospice here? They said he's got 2 weeks to live maximum. The fibrosis has eaten a hole in his throat that basically can't be fixed. So, there's so many questions. Like, okay, fibrosis ate a hole. How the fuck is he going to die from that? What can you do? We can't do anything. The VA tells him, we can't do anything. He's got 2 weeks. He's dead within a day. 24 hours, he's dead. He ruptured a blood vessel, artery, blood vessel, vein, whatever it was. This is how my dad died, and this is why this is... he was in bed at the hospice, my brother holding his hand. He coughed. He began to bleed out of his mouth. The nurses took my brother out of there. He bled out all of the blood in his body in 90 seconds. He choked on his own blood, trying to breathe it back in, while my mother, his wife of 48 years, held his hand and watched him die because there was nothing anybody could do. I didn't get to see him. My uncle didn't get to fly in from Tennessee to see him. He was so sick that he died within 24 hours, but he was cancer-free. No cancer, just a paralyzed vocal cord, just getting older. That was what the VA told him. He's just getting older, 72 years old. My mom, being smart enough, pulled his medical records the day after his funeral. 2,000 pages. They didn't want to give them to her. She waited. She got them. In the fucking medical records, carcinoma of the larynx. He had throat cancer. Carcinoma of the lung, active lung cancer. His pancreas shut down, which is why his blood sugar had spiked up to 400. And when your pancreas dies, you die. Nodules on his kidneys, He had kidney cancer. Liver, everything. The fucking cancer was everywhere. And it was metastasized lung cancer is what it was. He was never cancer-free to begin with. And that pain in his shoulder blade, in his chest, this whole area, that is a symptom of metastasized lung cancer. My father died for about 6 months, slowly, in pain, and was never told what was in those medical records. They knew. They knew he had the cancer. They knew what was going on. They knew they couldn't save him, and they never said anything. The next question is, well, maybe they told your father and he didn't want to tell your mom. Mom was his decision maker. Nothing was held back, ever. She was at every appointment with him. There was no time for anyone to tell him anything while my mom was not there. She was there at all of them. So after that, for the shoulder pain, they sent him home with 5 milligrams of oxycodone every couple of hours for the shoulder pain for 6 months. Terminal cancer. Now, I know a little bit about painkillers. I know a little bit about cancer. Fucking 80 milligrams of Oxycontin wouldn't have cured his pain. Now there's a big lawsuit. The VA is fucked. Channel 12 News has got involved with it. Now we'll have my mother's interview as soon as it airs. It's going to be a couple weeks. It's been put together, and I will be posting it on here to try to share the fact that the VA knew my father was terminal and knew for the fact that he was going to die, but did not treat him based on the fact that my mom and dad would have wanted them to run all the tests and try everything they could to save him, and it's too expensive. That's the only reason. Now, they haven't told my mom why. They didn't tell him yet. But there were multiple doctors that wrote in the fucking medical records, Mr. Ward needs medical attention immediately. Carcinoma of the larynx. Throat cancer. That cancer ate a hole in his throat, and they saw it on the CAT scan and PET scan, and they didn't say anything about it. They said it was fibrosis. My brother gets in touch with the Cancer Institute of America in Atlanta, which, by the way, if they knew he was dying, my dad could have gone there. It's donations that literally keeps that place running, and they could have treated him, at the very least made him comfortable for the last 6 months of his life, and all of us could have got to him and spent time with him before he died. And they said there's no such thing as fibrosis of the throat. Fibrosis occurs in the lungs from the radiation in the lung cancer. Nothing in the throat. And they said they would testify in a court of law and say that there is no such thing as fibrosis of the throat that eats a hole in your throat. Now, everything made sense afterwards. My mom said that, my father would cry in pain. Just sit there and cry because he was in such pain. They would tell him it's a nerve, just take a little bit of Oxycontin and you'll be fine. When they finally diagnosed him he was going to die, they gave him 2 full syringes of morphine every hour, on top of that Ativan, to try to cut the pain. That's a big difference. But if they had sent him home with Oxycontin like that dose or morphine, my mom, who's medically trained, would have immediately known something was up. He would have been so doped up on painkillers, they'd been like, if this is just a shoulder problem, why the fuck are you medicating him so much? So much is, I don't even know where to begin. Like, missing the opportunity to see my dad again, my uncle not being able to fly in from Tennessee. My aunts and uncles were driving, that live in the same state, Rhode Island's so small. They were driving when they got the call he went into hospice, and they didn't even make it to see him. The VA robbed my entire family of the rest of my dad's life. They robbed my mom, her husband of 48 years. They told me he had 2 weeks to live. Less than 24 hours, he was dead. She said, of course, we talked. We tried to say the things that we needed to say. He couldn't communicate because he couldn't talk. But the bottom line is, in 24 hours, when you didn't know he was going to go, could you think of everything in that time that you wanted to say to that person? Could you fucking remember everything that you wanted to get out? Especially when you still think you had 2 weeks and you're trying to process the fact that that person's going to die? No. So to say the last 3 weeks have been extremely hard on me and my family is a fucking understatement. To say that I'm upset about the VA would be an understatement. To say that I'm upset about my dad suffering for 6 months of his life and never being cancer-free like they said he was, treating him for other things. I don't know what to say. I get it, money. But I have another friend who was diagnosed with cancer and they said, you're terminal. And here's the deal. We could try this, and this, but we're not going to. We're sorry, we're not going to. You're too old to do this. Chances are you're not going to live it anyways. There's a small chance you're going to live. We're sorry, but you have a year to get your affairs in order. They told him, at least to his face, my friend. And then he went to the Cancer Institute of America. And you know what? Not only did he live to be that year, he's past the year mark where they said he was going to die and still healthy. Because the Cancer Institute of America has been helping with modified treatments and stuff that's not normally done, that's keeping him alive and healthy so that he can spend the time with his wife before he passes away. Like, they were options that they robbed my entire family of. So the purpose of this video is not to, I don't want, I'm sorry, Jerry, well wishes, nothing like that. You guys out there that are veterans who have been contacting me, talk about it. Talk about whatever the fuck is going on, because more and more people are popping up saying they got shitty care, et cetera, et cetera. There's multiple lawsuits against the VA that these lawyers have right now. Not to this extent, but same shit. Terrible care. People just being careless with other people's lives. Share it. Share it everywhere. Tell everybody you fucking know. Because nothing is going to change if we just fucking bury our heads in the sand. And having this platform to be able to speak and reach large amounts of people at one time, finally get to do something that's not just personal to me, but I can help my dad. You know, the person that I looked up to the most in the world that shaped and molded me. I can do something in his honor and his name to help the other veterans out there that may be going through the same thing. You know, have their families go, fuck, well, maybe my dad or my grandfather's not getting good care. What the fuck? Check into it, find out, see what's going on, push, ask questions. So that's what's been going on. Not sleeping well, no appetite, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Because it wasn't just a dad's old and he's going to pass away. There's a lot more going on. So when I get my mom's interview on the news station, I'll post that up. And please share this video. Share it everywhere. I have never asked once ever for any of you to share, like, subscribe. I've never said that in any of my videos. There's over 2,000 videos, 4 years now. I've never asked. But please, share this video. BioS3 and I approve this message. And we're out.